Ah, it's that wonderful time of the year again where everyone comes together and embraces the spirit of the holidays, which is to watch movies and TV shows about other people learning the spirit of the holidays. And what makes a great Christmas story isn't really any hard or fast rule. You have your all-time classics like Man realizes it's not okay to be a terrible person, The world is full of wonder, or even to never let go of that spark of happiness. The idea of a Christmas story is so abstract that a film about a barefoot police officer trying to save his ex-wife from bad guys can be considered a Christmas film just because it takes place on Christmas Eve. But there's one medium that fully embraces this yearly tradition and always goes all out with the spirit of Christmas, and that's with comic books. Every year, comic book publishers, both big and small, take a moment to reflect on the holidays, sometimes for a single issue of an ongoing series, or they make whole special prints. And what better way to spread the holiday cheer than to go over 8 of my favorite Christmas adaptations where the heroes of our comics learn the spirit of the holidays. Number 8. Batman Adventures Holiday Special. It was a quiet Christmas Eve, and Mr. Freeze had broken out of Arkham. Normally, Freeze is quiet and rarely ever causes any kind of trouble, but now Gotham is encased in a blizzard, and it's up to Batman to try and find Mr. Freeze and figure out why he's doing all of this. The snow wasn't anything out of the ordinary, nothing dangerous, well, nothing more dangerous than usual snow with idiot drivers. He tracks Mr. Freeze to the cemetery, where he's just spraying his snowmaker all across the city. They fight, Bruce is knocked into his parents' grave with a fresh wreath that he had placed there earlier, Batman destroys Mr. Freeze's snowmaker, and the fighting just stops. He asks Freeze why he's doing all of this, what was this for, and he was doing it for his wife. That Christmas Eve would have been his 10th wedding anniversary, and he just didn't want his wife to be sad on that night, so Batman consoles him. Okay, so Batman's White Christmas and the actual film versions are very different. The film involved a couple of World War II veterans trying to save a bed and breakfast in Vermont, but hey, they both involve it snowing on Christmas Eve because the love interest wanted it. So I'm including it on this list. And also because this is actually the first origin story Mr. Freeze was ever given, and would later be adapted into the animated series with her being alive, just in stasis. Number 7. X-Men Demon. Nearly everyone at the Xavier Institute had gone home for the holidays. Most of the remaining X-Men were either out on mission, or had decided to take a much-needed break. Everyone except Kitty Pryde, who is still the youngest and newest member of the team at that point. She doesn't mind putting in a few extra hours of training on Christmas Eve, which, I mean, does track for her character given the fact that she is Jewish after all. And she's also desperate to prove not just to everyone else, but to herself that she belongs on the team. So why not? All the equipment in the danger room is available. Suddenly, an intruder was detected. It was an elder demon that the X-Men had fought previously, escaped, and regained its strength. Kitty tries to outrun the demon, but it's really no use. The thing can just sense where she's going, so that takes away the one thing she has going for her. Even phasing through the demon's claws still hurt her. The only thing she can do is run away to buy herself some time. She sets up a bunch of traps throughout the manor and the danger room until she can lure it behind the Blackbird and roast the demon. The rest of the X-Men return the next day to have destroyed everything. But hey, at least Kitty passed her rite of passage into being an X-Men. And in case you're wondering if the story of a teenager who booby-traps a mansion to evade the bad guys on Christmas Eve sounds familiar, this issue actually came out in 1981. I'm not saying Home Alone lifted the premise from the X-Men, but I'm also not saying it. Number 6. Marvel Holiday Special 2005. As all the Avengers gather at the Sanctum Sanctorum, they finally have a moment to relax, enjoy the night, and generally let their guard down. Everyone except Gravity because he's too obscure to even make it past Wong. Meanwhile, an evil robot Santa is created and is accidentally unleashed to fight the Avengers. They party, Doctor Strange creates a carnivorous Christmas tree, and Hank Pym made a robot-controlled mistletoe to get Spider-Woman to kiss everyone. That's gross, and a reminder that Hank Pym has always been an emotionally abusive piece of shit. Created the villain Ultron, turned himself villain, and that's not even getting into the famous slap that defenders will say was a miscommunication to the artist. And it's weird that the Avengers let him in, but not Gravity, who just sucks at being a hero. But yeah, anyways, evil Santa Bot interrupts the party and attacks everyone. As it turns out, Santa was actually Ultron. Spider-Man tricks Ultron into eating a cookie with the mistletoe's power supply, and it stops him once and for all. This version of Ultron was restored by a woman named Virginia Hamlin, a nod to the Virginia O. Hamlin of the 1897 Sun article called "Yes, Virginia, There is a Santa Claus." It was a very tongue-in-cheek article written in a very serious newspaper for a father who just wanted to keep that spark of Santa alive for his daughter. The Virginia in the comics was mocked for believing Santa until one day she comes across the almost destroyed Ultron 6 and decided to use her knowledge of robotics to turn him into Santa for all the boys and girls. But Ultron used this opportunity to get back at the Avengers. Avengers. So the Avengers saw it as an honest mistake made with good intentions. They go to her lab and spend Christmas with her. Captain America even recites the famous article by letting her know that Santa does exist as the generosity and devotion that gives life joy. That would be a touching and beautiful moment, except... Number 5. Marvel Holiday Special 1991. Santa totally exists in the Marvel Universe, and he's also the strongest mutant to have ever existed. As the X-Men are setting up their tree, an alert goes off from Cerebro, and they need to find out if this powerful being is an enemy or could be the newest member of the X-Men. The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants also arrive in the New York City department store that the X-Men are scouting. A fight breaks out until everyone is turned into action figures. I kinda spoiled it already, or if you saw the 1947 film Miracle on 37th Street that this short story is based on. That mall Santa is actually the real Santa. Santa scolds them for fighting on Christmas Eve and teleports them to Rockefeller Plaza with Cyclops and Jean Grey, and then wipes their memories of ever meeting Santa. And just another fun little fact about this moment, this is actually supposed to have taken place just before 1976's X-Men number 98. Which was a 4-part story that began with Scott and Jean out on a nice romantic Christmas dinner before the Sentinels attacked. Jean, Wolverine, and Banshee are kidnapped, and the rest of the team have to go to space to rescue them, and by the end, Jean gets the Phoenix Force to start off the Phoenix Saga. So, if we're playing by Die Hard rules, that just because the story takes place on Christmas Eve makes it a Christmas story, well, I guess so does the Phoenix Saga, even if neither of the films acknowledge the fact that Jean got her new powers Christmas morning after the team was visited by the actual Santa Claus. Number 4, Teen Titans Go number 25. So the gift of the Magi is in itself a fairly simple plot point and always seems to be brought up around Christmas time. Two people love each other very much and want to give each other gifts. But oh no, they had to give up their thing to buy the other their gift. The husband wants to give his wife a nice comb, so he sells his pocket watch. Wife wants to buy her husband a new chain for his pocket watch, so she sells her hair. And ironically enough, neither of them can use the gift, but it's the thought that counts. In Teen Titans Go, the tie-in series to the early 2000s Cartoon Network show, they throw a huge secret Santa party where much of the plot revolves around Robin trying to get a new game console for Beast Boy, but inevitably, he has to use it as a trap for Billy Numerous to get him to stop creating so many copies of himself. So Beast Boy is out of luck for getting a new gift this year, but he gives Cyborg hubcaps for the Titanmobile. But Cyborg had to sell the tires to buy Raven a bookshelf, but she had to sell her books to buy Starfire a blender, which is awful for everyone because she only knows how to cook alien food. Which leaves Robin to get his gift, which is just a nice kiss from Starfire. I know that might sound all sweet and lovely, but they're already dating at this point. Dude was out here buying next-gen consoles for his friends, and Starfire's plan was to show up to a secret Santa party with the plan of kissing her boyfriend? No wonder Robin goes back to Batgirl. Number 3. DC's Very Merry Multiverse. It's a Wonderful Life is hands down my favorite Christmas story. It's a beautiful film about a man contemplating whether to jump off a bridge, but is saved by a guardian angel who shows him a version of the world without him, and that the real world is a much better place with him in it. In DC's Very Merry Multiverse, Harley is about to jump off a building, but is saved by her guardian angel, who tells her to shut the fuck up and quit throwing a pity party for herself. And if she steps back, he can instead show her various multiverses where she becomes a hero and the world is much better with her in it. The angel shows her Earth 42, the Little League universe where she was a key member in stopping Blackest Night, but it's kinda boring. Earth 50, a universe where the evil Justice Lords have taken over the world, but Harley is still dating Joker in this universe, so hard pass. In Earth 45, a world without Harley, the Joker becomes a family-friendly brand, but most evil of all, Earth 33, the world without superheroes. Harley becomes the most wants to speak to your manager Karen the multiverse has ever seen. And it's with this that she learns that life can always be better, so she spends the rest of Christmas with her two favorite people. Number 2. Hellboy Krampusnacht. What good Christmas stories about heroes saving Christmas could be complete without somebody fighting a demon that steals children? Hellboy Krampusnacht begins in 1975 Austria. The ghost of a woman in the forest asks Hellboy to save her son. He comes upon a cabin in the woods where he meets an old man and confronts him about being Krampus. Well, there's no use hiding it now, and he shows him exactly who he is by turning into his full demon mode. So, they fight. Krampus actually wants to die to go back to hell, but still puts up a fight to get Hellboy to use his hand to send him back there. The spirit of the children Krampus has killed summon Hellboy to the forest again to get the gift of a knife, which is perfect for demon stabbing. With the power of the dead kids, Hellboy is instead able to banish Krampus from existence instead of giving him a free ticket back to hell, and the spirits of the children could happily move on. Number 1. Batman Noel. Without a doubt, one of the most enduring Christmas stories has got to be Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. It has been adapted by the Muppets, Disney, a modern take with Bill Murray, and even Marvel did a zombie adaptation of the classic tale. As for superhero characters, who really could fill out the role of Scrooge? Well, we have Bruce Wayne. After recently losing Jason Todd, Batman has gone more reclusive and stopped pulling his punches. In comes Bob, a man forced into a life of crime just to take care of his sick son. Batman forces him into a deal to be bait to find Joker's new hideout. Alfred chastises Bruce for being a prick about knowing the man's situation and still putting his life on the line just to get the Joker. Batman still decides to go out, where he meets a jilted ex-lover, Catwoman, to remind him of all the good he used to do. The joyful, larger-than-life friend, Superman, to show him how good things currently are. And the dark entity to show him the path he's headed down, the Joker. Batman now sees that without empathy in a world of vigilantism and villainy, it is only going to lead to outright wars on the street between good and evil. Joker goes back to kill Bob for being a mole, but Batman saves the day. To make amends, Bruce gives Bob and his son a nice Christmas and a job at Wayne Enterprises. The end. And that's my list. There are plenty more Christmas stories out there that I know I left out, but I want to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this week's video, please hit that like button and subscribe for more weekly content on comic books and nerd stuff. I've been Eric, and I wish you and your loved ones a very merry and awesome Christmas.